coming back at you with the Chatcast. It is a rainy afternoon in the summer, but the weather isn't too terribly hateful, and we're making do. I'm back to work this week after my staycation, and I kind of like it, a return to the normal schedule, but hey, it is what it is. This man's been doing his thing too, doing his norm. Mm-hmm. So now tonight, I'm just going to hit Kyle with a thing right off the bat and make him talk about it. Pride. What's the very first thing that comes to your mind?
Oh, pride?
As soon as I say it, try to hit it. Hit it.
When you say pride, I think of arrogance.
Okay. Is that
like...
I don't know.
I just want me to elaborate, or just want
that,
like...
It could have been a person, a story. It could have been a person, a story. It could have been a movie. It could have been a word association.
I was going to say, I think of arrogance, but I also think of lions.
Lions?
A pride of lions.
Yeah. So you think of arrogance and you also think of lions.
Yeah, but I feel like that's just stupid word association.
No. That's fine.
Okay.
That's why I wanted to hit you with that just right off the bat. Now, pride. Now, why did arrogance, what is it? Because pride doesn't necessarily have to be bad, but arrogance really hits you first.
Yeah, so honestly, this is a really weird thing, and it's something I think about occasionally, like internally, but I don't know if I really ever even talk about it with you or anything. Growing up, pride always had negative connotations, like always. So I never thought of it as something like, even when people say have pride in your work, like in some weird roundabout way, it always seemed like overconfidence.
Yes, because remember, Hitler was proud.
Yeah. Yeah. So it doesn't have a positive connotation just because in like my more formative years, it was like ingrained into my brain as being something bad. So like, don't be prideful.
Now, do we think that was because of religious upbringing, or do we think that was just cultural at the time?
I think it was just like the adults around me and the religion and everything like that. Maybe even the culture, because that's the thing is like religion often teaches humility. And so humility seems to be the opposition of pride. In my mind, at least.
Yeah.
And so whenever I think of pride, it's hard for me to think of it as more just confidence or contentment in something that you can do or have done. And so over the years, that's why I struggle with, like, we've talked about like imposter syndrome and stuff like that, where I'm just like, I really am not good at anything I do. And everything that I do that is good probably is fake and cheating in some way, and I'm tricking people into thinking I'm competent. Like, I always have that kind of like insecurity built in, so it's hard for me to experience, like, to teach myself that no, like, you can be confident in like what you know, you can be confident in your opinion, you can be confident in your skills, or things like that, without being a jerk. Like, there's there's like this line that you cross where it's like, where pride becomes like, because I feel like there's two types of pride. There's pride and then there's pride, And like for most of my life, pride was just one thing. It was just that bad version of it. But it actually does have a positive version that I've learned later in life.
It's interesting that you say that. So I will talk now about what I think. It's interesting that you say that because that's what I was going to point out. So as I've gotten older, pride has not just pride, but a lot of the things that culturally, since we were, Midwest boys raised in church, a lot of the classic 7 deadly sins and stuff like that, right? That's kind of what inspired me to hit you with this. Those things come up in life. And so, yes, for a long time, pride was in that category. But I've been thinking when these things come up, the duality of a lot of this, right? The yin and the yang, the plus and the minus. And so it's a constant struggle. The first thing that came to my mind when I brought this up was, and it's, again, not fair because I hit you with it right off the bat, but I had been kind of thinking about this for a little bit. And the reason I wanted to bring us talking about pride, since we're kind of going this advice to the younger people kind of approach like we did with our Sunday school class, is that I thought it would be neat to kind of hit you with a singular concept. We've been hitting a lot of really broad
Yeah.
concepts, it would be neat to just hit you with one color, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or one chord in music, however you want to look at that. You just hit you with that and see what comes out. And so for me, when I hit myself with it and I tried to be as unbiased as possible and pretend like, okay, I was hit with the duality of pride is where where you ended is where I started. And I think it was from being older, because having children, I experienced pride in a different way. And I think that's kind of changed. I know that's changed my perspective on what it means to experience pride. But I experienced this different type of pride through someone that isn't me, yet is part of me, and that doesn't fully express who I am, yet partially expresses who I am. So it's this very unique feeling when you have pride in that. And that's what's kind of made it more dual in my mind. And it made me want to repair my perspective on pride. I knew it was bad, and that's mainly where I categorized it, right? And I kind of just left it alone. And a lot of times people are like, well, aren't you proud of your work? And I'm like, well, I don't really think of it like that.
Yeah.
And then they would be like, well, then why do you succeed? Or why do you try to be the best guitar player that you can be? Or why do you try to be the best mixing engineer why would you do those kinds of things? Why would you try to be good at fitness then? If it's not for being proud, like, aren't you proud of what you've achieved or this? And it's like, no, I just do it for principle. To me, doing the thing that you want to do and doing it well, your job, your hobby, your relationships that you have with your significant others and your children if you have them, or whatever it is, the teacher-mentor relationship, your colleagues, all the above, is that you do your best always, simply for that one reason, that you just do your best always, so that when your name is mentioned in a work meeting, a school meeting, a meeting of local musicians, a meeting of creatives or anything like that, when your name is mentioned, it's just like, that guy works hard and he does a really good job, simply for that, simply for the sake of that, and not so much that pride comes into it. And I feel like a lot of people do it simply to have pride, and then that's it.
Right.
Or the lack of pride, and they're seeking it. They're either obtaining it or they're seeking it. But moments in life present themselves when you work and when you go to achieve things and try to put yourself out there, where you feel this healthy pride. And that's what my children are slowly starting to teach me, which is how I'm able to feel healthy pride with this, instead of being like, I'm just here to conquer you.
Yeah.
I've been in modes like that in life too, but yeah, anyways, I kind of came to the duality of that word, that there's this negative, but then there's this positive, and that positive is healthy when, like we said, why listen to us? Because you very rarely are you going to meet people or a person or a group of people that have your best interests in mind, right? That we can be proud about.
Yeah.
Because the purpose wasn't self-fulfillment. And I feel like that's the kind of stuff that you can express pride for. But again, I think that might be best for the people around you in your life to experience on your behalf. I don't know. Anyways, I like that. That was fun. I'm going to do it to you a couple more times.
Okay.
So that was this Chatcast, a little shorter, a little sweeter than some of the stuff we had going on, because we got some pretty long ones previously. I was editing those, and that's pretty good stuff though. I really like it. So this one's about 10 minutes. That's our target time. Attention spans, including ours, are shorter than ever. So we want to keep it like that. Hey, tune in next time.